What's up, LF students? Hey, it's great to see you tonight. Well, we actually can't see them.
No, we cannot see.
Because we're hanging out in an empty loft all by ourselves. It's kind of sad.
It's depressing.
It is.
All these empty chairs still set up,
Yep.
kind of spaced out. Maybe if they were more spaced out, we would be in person still.
I don't know. Hey, but we're glad you're joining us tonight. We hope tonight is a time where you can just spend a few minutes, have a little fun, focus on God's Word, spend a few minutes in prayer, and just really kind of focus on the things that matter. Because here's what I know. I know in today's world, man, it is so easy to get focused and caught up on everything else going on. You're not in school right now. A lot of you are not in school right now. There's just so much in the news. It's so easy to kind of get sidetracked, isn't it?
It's very, very easy. You know, you turn on the TV, everything's depressing. You try and do schoolwork like you said, it's depressing. Most of you probably don't even really pay attention to your schoolwork anymore.
It's true. That's true. I like your new mask, by the way.
Hey, you know where you can get it?
Where's that?
Brought to you by Circle K. Yes, sir.
Proud sponsors of LF Students Live.
That's right. That's why we got the church color on it.
Hey, real quick before we get started, let me just again welcome you tonight to LF Students Live. And we're going to kick things off tonight with a quick game. I love this game, don't you, Noah?
This game is so much fun, so active.
It's called House Hunters. We've played it before, but here's the gist of it. Across your screen, there will be 5 different items coming up that you must go find in your house. Once you find the item, you need to take a selfie with that item and text it to the phone number on the screen. There you go. You're not eligible to win.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you're not eligible. I'm sorry. Text it to the number on the screen, and if you are the first person to send your picture to that cell phone number, what are we going to give away? What do you think?
What do you feel like? You feel like giving away a lot? Big gold prize this night?
Let's do Chick-fil-A tonight.
Chick-fil-A.
Let's do Chick-fil-A.
As long as you take me.
All right, $10 Amazon. All right, Amazon. $10 Chick-fil-A. I guess we can do Amazon too. $10 Chick-fil-A gift card coming your way if you are the first one. We will respond to you and let you know that you are the winner. All right, y'all ready? All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that game. Congratulations to our big winners. And we look forward to getting you that Chick-fil-A gift card real soon. But we need to talk about our series. We're in week 2 of this series, even though we're not in person, but it's quite appropriate.
What's the series called again?
The series is called Canceled. Some of you last week came in and saw the series title and asked, well, what is canceled? And we said nothing.
We lied.
We lied.
Joke's on us.
Oh, how appropriate that right now we're doing a series called Canceled. Well, now, we're not really talking about canceling a lot of things, even though we had to cancel tonight. We're talking about canceling people in our lives that we find difficult to love. Kind of to kick this off a little bit, Noah, I don't know if you've ever had this. Technology in today's society for these teenagers, man, it's like second nature, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they've had it their whole lives. I did not, just to show you how old I am here, I did not have the internet until I was a senior in high school. I think it was a senior in high school.
What year was that?
1999. They weren't even alive.
99. Okay.
Yeah. But I remember the first time I ever logged on to the internet. It was an amazing thing. I was in the school library. Do you know the very first website I ever logged on to?
No idea.
I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea even how to use the internet. So I just typed in, as it started typing, these 4 letters, ESPN, and hit enter. And my world just was changed forever.
Changed forever.
But you guys know all about social media. You know all about technology. It is like second nature to you guys. But to your, let's say your grandparents, maybe your aunts and uncles, it doesn't quite come so second nature. Have you ever had to help somebody that just didn't have a clue when it came to like social media or technology or anything?
Oh yeah, my grandparents for sure.
Grandparents, 100%. Maybe you've been in the boat. Well, we wanted to share with you some really kind of funny things that grandparents have posted on social media, specifically on Facebook. For instance, grandparents do not know how to take and post a selfie. You can see by this picture that we're showing you right now, grandparents do not know how to post a selfie. I thought this one was funny, Noah. There was a grandparent that posted on Facebook. She just simply typed, download John Lennon greatest hits. I guess she thought the music was just going to pop up just like that. Don't you wish listening to music was that simple?
Be nice.
Yep. Not so much. That's not what Facebook is for, Grandma. I'm sorry. This one was kind of fun, too. Grandma posted on Facebook, I'm so sorry, my dear friends. I have to quit this group. There are too many beeps on my phone at night. Apparently, she had no idea how to actually silence her phone. Have you ever done that, gone to bed without silencing your phone?
I never even had my volume turned on.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's not good. Of course, I'm not popular enough. Nobody beeps or dings or likes anything I post on there.
But
so.
it comes as a good excuse, because then when it vibrates, you can just be like, oh, I didn't hear
That's true. But grandmas, they don't even know. Did they make a commercial about that? Did I see a commercial recently where it was like I didn't even know I had a silent button or something like that?
If not, they should.
That's, yeah, exactly. There was another thing that Grandma posted here. Somebody posted on their Facebook. They said, I cannot log out of Facebook and don't know why. And Grandma's response?
Coconut oil.
Coconut oil. Don't know what that means.
Don't get it.
Don't have a clue, but apparently coconut oil will help you if you cannot log out of your Facebook page. This is one of my favorites, though. Grandma posted on Facebook with these smiley face with tears emojis saying, it is with great sadness in my heart that my cat of 15 years, Fluffy, has died.
She was close.
So
close.
You know, I think when emojis first came out, I actually thought that was like a sad thing, and then I learned really quickly after people made fun of me that that's not what that emoji is for.
But it has a smile.
But it does have a smile.
You didn't catch that?
I didn't catch that. I just saw the tears. I thought maybe they were crying so hard. I don't know.
Old people.
Whatever. I'm old. And then maybe my favorite one. It is my number 2 grandson's birthday. Happy birthday. She tagged Zac Efron. Maybe Zac Efron really was her grandson.
Could have been.
It could have been. Well, I don't know about you, But there have been times where I've had to help people with technology, with social media, because they just didn't have a clue. Now, if you're like me, if it's your family member, if it's your grandparents, if it's your aunt or your uncle or something like that, you probably don't get fed up too easily, at least the first 50 times you answer the same question. But after a while, helping people with silly things like social media, technology, man, it can get kind of frustrating because they ask the same things over and over, and you're like, I've told you how to do this 50 million times, you know?
You could just be like Mike and say, if you'd switch to an Android, you'd understand how it works.
That's true. But it's easy to get frustrated with family members when we're trying to help them with things like technology. But I want you to think a little bit deeper today. And here's what I want you to think about. Every single day, we have the opportunity to help other people who are in need. And many times those are very small things. Sometimes they're big things. But a lot of times the opportunities that we have are very small things, whether it's like showing your grandmother how to use emojis or helping a kid tie their shoe. And if you can help teach my son how to tie his shoes, that would be fantastic. Maybe you have a friend who's sitting across from you at lunch and they get corn stuck in their teeth.
Ooh.
That's kind of gross.
Corn?
Corn, peas?
Broccoli?
Broccoli?
Carrot?
I don't know.
Pepper.
Whatever. Pepper. Yeah, there you go. There you go. But have you ever had that happen to you?
Food stuck in my teeth?
Food stuck in your teeth?
Oh, yeah.
Did somebody tell you, or did they just laugh at you?
Mostly just laugh. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they probably laugh at me too. Would you tell somebody if they had something stuck in their teeth?
100%.
Would you really?
Yeah, like, hey, bro.
Like 100%? Like there's not that one person who you would just be like, nah.
Now you speak about it.
Well, depending on that person, maybe you would help them, maybe you would not. But the reality is, and I do want to get serious for just a second, is that every single day you have the opportunity to be helpful, to be generous to people in needs. Because whether we admit it or not, whether we notice it or not, we come across people every single day who are in need. The question is, and really the challenge I think is, Noah, is that so many times we are too busy, or we're too tired, or we're too annoyed, or maybe we're sure somebody else will help to actually take time to help ourselves. I want you to watch this quick video, and I want you to think about the many opportunities that you've had to help somebody in need, and see if some of these responses maybe fit you as well. Check this out.
Ano? Eksi.
А кахлы скоро? Ты потерялась?
אמורה בירות המשרד, תתוצקני לא מצביע. נצחנה. גאוי. תדי סנומי ונבודה.
Well, I don't know what you thought when you saw that video. Maybe you remembered some times where you've seen people in need, and you had to make a decision of whether you would help meet that need or whether you pushed that person away, whether you canceled that person out. For me, when I watched that video, man, it's challenging because I think about the many times where maybe a particular person, I'm willing to help with that need. But maybe in other situations, in other scenarios, and other people, I simply cancel them out and hope that maybe somebody else will meet that need. Or maybe for you, you remembered watching that video a time when you were in need. And maybe somebody pushed you away. Maybe somebody canceled you. And if that's ever happened to you, I want you to think about what that felt like. To be in need in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and to have somebody push you aside. The reality is when we are in need, we are very vulnerable. We are very lonely. We're very anxious. And when we're in need, whether it's a small need or a big need, and we are so dependent on somebody else to reach out a helping hand. Have you ever experienced a time where maybe you were in need and there was nobody there? Maybe they didn't cancel you out, so to speak, but nobody would lend a hand?
Mm-hmm. I remember a time in high school, I had a girlfriend break up with me.
Oh, that's tough.
And I just thought nobody cared. Nobody wanted to help Noah feel better. Really, now looking back on it, I just needed to grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was hurtful. You just wanted somebody there to support you.
Yep. Yeah, the reality is that many times when we see people in need, our first response is not compassion or care or concern for somebody else's need. Oftentimes, I don't know about you, my first response is impatience or disgust or suspicion maybe that there's some catch behind it or something like that.
Right.
The reality is that there have been times where we have been that person in need. We have been the one who needed somebody to lend us a helping hand. We needed somebody else to come alongside and show care and kindness and compassion towards us. And maybe you've been the person who needed that and it never came along. And so knowing that and thinking about that, I want us to think about what it would be like to live in a world where we as followers of Jesus saw the needs in front of us and then met them with the love of Jesus. I want you to think about a world where we as followers of Jesus would care for others, would show compassion towards others in meeting the needs of people who are vulnerable, meeting the needs of people who need our help. And what that would look like as followers of Jesus, if we would take that seriously, I believe that is exactly what Jesus is challenging us to do. I believe that's exactly the kind of world that Jesus is challenging us as followers of him to go and create. And one of the things, Noah, that I love about Jesus is Jesus didn't just say, hey, go meet needs. Like, he showed us what this looks like, right?
Right.
Like, over and over and over through the Gospels, which is the first 4 books of the Bible, or first 4 books of the New Testament, that tell us and teach us about the life of Jesus. He didn't just say, hey, I want you to be people who go and meet needs. Like, he went time after time after time after time to people who were overlooked, people who were vulnerable, people who had some real needs. Mm-hmm. And he cared for those people. Even when, in many situations, those exact same people were the people who had been canceled, who had been pushed aside, who had been isolated, left out. Yeah. And Jesus said, those are exactly the kind of people that I have come to care about. And we see a couple. I want us to look at a couple of those today. The first one's from Mark chapter 10, verses 46 through 52. Maybe you're familiar with this story. It says in Mark chapter 10, it says, they came to Jericho, and as he was leaving Jericho, he being Jesus, with his disciples and a large crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind beggar, was sitting on the road. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Let me stop right there for just a second. Because you need to understand, people who had any kind of disabilities, blindness, sickness, anything like that, these people would have been outcast. These people would have been people who had been canceled by society. They had been pushed to the side. And so here's this blind man named Bartimaeus who hears that Jesus is coming, and he starts crying out to him. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Verse 48, many, this is crazy, Noah, it says, many warned him to keep quiet, but he cried out all the more. In other words, everybody else around him said, just shut up.
Right.
Just be quiet. Quit being a nuisance. That was everybody else's response to this man. It's just go away. Just get out of here. They were in a sense, they were canceling this man out. Verse 49, Jesus stopped and he said, call him. So they called the blind man and said to him, have courage. Get up. He's calling for you. Verse 50. He threw off his coat, jumped up, and came to Jesus. I can imagine, for this man, like this was the first time and probably forever that somebody had actually showed any kind of kindness and compassion and care towards this man. At verse 51, then Jesus answered him, what do you want me to do for you? As if Jesus didn't know already. What do you want me to do for you? And he says, Rabbi, the blind man said to him, I want to see. And then Jesus said to him, go, for your faith has saved you. And immediately he could see again, and he began to follow Jesus on the road. Does this remind you of the video that we just watched? Those very same people who were pushing this little girl away would have been exactly like these people who were calling out to Bartimaeus saying, just be quiet. Just go away. You're just a blind beggar who's not worthy of any kind of attention or any kind of care or any kind of concern for anybody. But Jesus did something different. I think, Noah, what Jesus did here in this story, man, is so huge. Like, he gave value to this blind man who had been canceled. Mm-hmm. He showed how much this man, even though he was blind, was worthy of Jesus' time, his attention, and his help. There's another story found in Luke chapter 8. I love this story too, because it comes at a time where Jesus was very busy. I think one of the reasons, if I can kind of jump off topic here for just a second, one of the reasons we don't meet needs and we don't see needs even sometimes is because we're so busy. And this story actually comes in a time where Jesus was very, very busy. He was on his way to heal another person. But this is what we see in Luke chapter 8. It says, when Jesus returned, the crowds welcomed him, for they were all expecting him. Just then, a man named Jairus came. He was the leader of the synagogue. He fell down at Jesus' feet and pleaded with him to come to his house because he had only one daughter, about 12 years old, and she was dying. Okay, so this man Jairus had come to Jesus and had said, Jesus, my daughter is dying. Would you come to my house and heal my girl? And Jesus obviously would do that. So he was busy. He was on the move. He was heading in a place, on a task, on a mission. And verse 42 says this. Let me find it. Verse 43 says this. It says, a woman suffering from bleeding for 12 years, who had spent all she had on doctors, and yet none of them could help, and she could not find healing, approached from behind and touched the end of his robe. And instantly her bleeding stopped. Verse 45, who touched me, Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, Master, the crowds are hemming you in and pressing against you. Someone did touch me, Jesus says. I know the power has gone out from me. And when the woman saw that she was discovered, she came trembling and fell down before him. In the presence of all the people, she declared the reason she had touched him and how she was instantly healed. Daughter, he said to her, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. One of the things that I find interesting, we talked last week about how uncommon it was for men and women to have conversations, much less a woman who was sick. Like, this woman would have been an outcast. This woman would have been somebody who society had absolutely canceled. I find it interesting that, like, she snuck up and she wanted to touch the hem of Jesus' garment. Like, she never said anything. She didn't call out to Jesus. Why do you think she did that? Like, why do you think she didn't even try to, like, make a scene here? What do you think?
In my opinion, I think her faith it's a testament to her faith. Her faith is so strong that she just is of the belief, if I can just get close enough to touch him, I will be healed.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't even need him to make a scene. I don't need to even ask him. I know 100% without a doubt, if I am just near enough to his presence, I'll be healed.
Yeah, and what's so cool about this story is that, like, she touched the hem of his garment. She was healed in that moment. Like, Jesus could have just kept on walking, kept on trucking, saying, okay, that's taken care of. Let's go on to Jairus' house and take care of that. But I think one of the most fascinating things in this story is what Jesus did next. It says Jesus stopped. Jesus stopped. Why did he stop? Because he wanted to minister and care to this woman, or for this woman, in a way that maybe she had never been cared for before. Because again, this woman was an outcast. This woman had been canceled by her society. And in this moment, Jesus shows care and compassion and value to a woman who had been canceled by the rest of society. Jesus gave worth and attention to this woman who was in need. And I love that about Jesus, because over and over and over, and we could spend hours reading story after story of how Jesus showed compassion and value and worth to people who everybody else had canceled. I love that about Jesus. But Jesus didn't just show it. Like I said, he also taught us to do this. One of the really cool things, Jesus was at a really kind of an important part in his life. He was nearing his death. Jesus was teaching about the importance of God's kingdom and the things that really mattered. And Jesus says this, he teaches us this. In Matthew chapter 25, Jesus says this. It says, for I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry or feed you, or thirsty or give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or without clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? And check this out. And the king will answer them. This is so huge, guys. Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Whenever you did this for someone else, it's just as if you were doing it for me. Here's what I want you to understand tonight. Here's what I want you to get. Is that Jesus constantly and consistently cared for people, and he calls us to do the same. He cared for people who had been canceled and disrespected and ignored, and he met their needs. And he calls us to do the very same thing, to love people who are in need. But Jesus takes it a step further. He says, here's the deal. When you meet those needs, when you care for people who need you to love them and care for them and show them worth and value, when you take that step, not only are you helping them, but it's like you are caring for me as well. So I want to share just a couple of things with you real quick, and we're going to kind of finish up this portion. I want to kind of give you a couple of things that we need to learn about meeting the needs of other people. And the first thing I want to share with you guys is this. When it comes to meeting the needs of other people, it's about our heart. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen this, Noah. Like, sometimes people will go and they'll meet needs, not so they can show love and care and value to other people. They do it so they can get a pat on the back.
They want to be recognized.
They want to be recognized. They want somebody to say, oh, did you see what Noah did? That boy, he just has the heart of gold. They obviously don't know you because you don't have a heart of... No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But one of the things that we learn from Jesus is that it's not about you. When you go and help and serve other people, it's not about you. It's about your heart and why you're doing it. He cares about what's happening on the inside, not just what happens on the outside. And then the second thing I would share with you is simply this. It's about seeing the need. I said it earlier, and I think it's so true, that one of the reasons we don't meet other people's needs is because we don't see the needs. And the reason we don't see the needs is because we spend all our time looking at who, Noah? Ourselves. We spend all of our time looking at my needs. What do I need? How can other people serve me? How can I serve myself? How can I get what it's all me, and my focus is on me rather than everybody else. Here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. I'm going to challenge you to put other people on the front of your radar. Would you, for this next week, put other people, not yourself, but other people on the front of your radar, and then pray that God would show you and allow you to see other people's needs, and then watch what he does. It's about seeing the need, and the only way we can see the need is when we take our eyes off of ourselves and put them on other people. Third thing I want to share with you today is simply this. It's not about what we have. It's about what we can give. Because I know what some of you are saying. Some of you are saying, Josh, I would love to meet needs of other people, but I don't have much to offer. I don't have much money. Oftentimes we go straight to money. And we think, well, I don't have any, I'm a teenager. I don't have any money. I can't do anything. Well, okay, you may not have a ton of money, okay, but you do have something. You have time, you have talents, you have compassion, you have friendship, you have skills. There are things that God has given you right now where you are at as a teenager that you can give to other people. So my question is, what has God given you? Maybe it's just time, okay? Every single one of us has been given the gift of time. And the cool thing is, regardless of if you're a bazillionaire or a dollaraire, we get the exact amount of time, the exact same amount of time. It's not about what you have, but about what you can give. So what do you have? What can you give? Again, maybe it's your time, maybe it's your care, maybe it's your friendship, maybe it's your compassion, maybe it's your skills. Okay? It's about what you can give. And then the last thing, we've already talked about this, but I think this is so huge. It's not only about loving others, it's about loving God too. Because when you meet the needs of others with the love of Jesus, Jesus said, it's just like you're meeting my needs too. When you show love and kindness and compassion to other people, it's just like you're doing that for Jesus. When you show care to someone who is vulnerable, you're doing that for Jesus. When you meet a need that somebody else has, you're doing that to Jesus. When we care for others, Jesus says, it's just like you're doing it for me as well. This then becomes a gift of worship that we give to God. When we serve others, when we meet needs with the love of Jesus, that is an act of worship towards God. Let me just kind of close by saying this. In Jesus' time, there were a lot of people who were canceled. There were a lot of people that were pushed aside. They were ignored. They were judged. They were counted out. They were left to fend for themselves. And guys, the reality is the same thing happens in today's world today. The same thing happens in your school today. The same thing happens right where you live. There are people who are ignored, who are judged, who are canceled, who are left for dead. And they simply need somebody who's willing to come and meet a need with the love of Jesus. And it may not be a big thing. It may not be a huge thing. It may be something small. Sometimes I think, Noah, oftentimes we don't go and meet needs because we think they're small things. Mm-hmm. We want to do the big things, but so many times it's the small things that make the biggest difference. And so my challenge to you is simply this. would you this week be intentional to find opportunities, to see opportunities, and not ignore them, but to ask God, okay, God, how have you positioned me to meet that need? How have you positioned me to care for others? How have you positioned me to show Jesus' love to them right here and right now? Here's the thing. I want to love people the way that Jesus loved people. I want you to love people the way that Jesus loved people. I want our student ministry to be known that we love people the way that Jesus loved people. And Jesus loved people who were in need. And so our challenge is simply this. Will you and I be people who love people who are in need? Because when you do, it's just like you're doing it for Jesus himself. I want you to take a look at this video. Well, here's what we want you to do. To kind of close our time together today, we want you to spend just a few minutes in prayer. There's going to be some silent, some quiet music, reflective music that comes on. There's going to be some prompts on the screen. I want you to just take a few minutes to read those prayer prompts and then just talk honestly between you and God. Talk with God, and more importantly, take a few minutes to listen to God. Enjoy your prayer time. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed your prayer time. I hope you've enjoyed tonight. I hope it's been helpful. I hope it's been practical. I hope that tonight you can take what we've learned and go put it into practice this week as you are out and about. It's been a good time.
It's been very fun.
So thank you guys again for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing you real soon. Be safe. Stay healthy. And let's get back together as quickly as we possibly can, because we miss you guys when we don't get to see you all throughout the week. And it's just kind of a bummer not to get to see them. So give us a shout out on Facebook or on Instagram. Instagram. I'm one of those old people that still try to figure out social media. Give us a shout out on text. If you need us, text us, call us. We'd love to help you out and serve you in any way we can. So thanks for watching tonight, guys. And I got one more thing.
Oh, what you got?
Let's do this one more. This will be fun. So real quick, last thing. First person that texts me right now and says, "Eat more chicken," I'm giving you a Chick-fil-A sandwich gift card too. So eat more chicken. Text it 270-256-0865 and go. Have a great night. We love you. We'll see you later.
See ya.